That's your first goal, is be able to go into the chart, not necessarily live right now, because that's not even where you're supposed to be at in your development. You should be able to identify where 5 handles are in hindsight. Where's the setups? Where do you see it? Because if you can't see it there, you sure as hell aren't going to be able to see it when it's live. You won't know what it looks like, which is the reason why I'm giving you these prompts to screenshot. That way you can look at it right then and there. At this moment, you have some information to digest. It would be the equivalent of, if you were watching it without me saying anything, you should be seeing something right then and there. And then I tell you what the label is, so that way you know, this is what I should be observing at that moment. At this instant right here, this is what I should be thinking. Not because you should already know it, but I'm conditioning you to subconsciously retain this as a false memory. You're tricking your brain into thinking you knew this in advance. When I'm calling it beforehand, I'm lending my experience to you. I'm lending it. I'm prompting you to do the things that if you would have known how to do this, you would be seeing this very thing at that instance in time. That very second, that moment in time, this is the part that you should be observing at that moment. So since you don't have that skill set or the understanding of it, that's what tape reading is. I'm literally prompting you to pull out at the very specific times when price is doing certain things that's going to be helpful to you, which leads to what? Understanding how the market moves from one PD array, from discount to premium, from premium to discount, one PD array to the next. But some of you are just trying too hard to do other shit or trade. And you're not just simply taking what it is I'm giving you, which, months from now, if you submit to it, you're going to know how you were trying to make it harder than it needs to be. You're prolonging your learning, not me. I'm every day showing up. But you can say you're showing up every day too. But if you're showing up every day and you're not paying full attention, not focusing on the things I'm telling you to do, and avoiding the things I'm telling you not to do, pushing a button, demo trading. I'm going to say it for the folks that didn't hear me the first couple of minutes of this session. If you share that you have taken a trade, whether it's profitable or losing, do not include my handle in that tweet, because I will block you. I don't want to see it. I don't care to know. When I want to know, I'll ask you. Then you can all flood the responses to that tweet when I'm asking. But right now, I need to have the peace of mind knowing that if you're hurting yourself, I don't want to know about it, because you're not listening. And if you're making money, you're not learning. The only thing you're doing is getting hopped up on goofballs. And when the party ends in November and you didn't learn how to do this on your own, you're not going to have that experience anymore. You're going to be right back in where you are right now, learning next to nothing, looking at other people, wishing that you could have done what they were doing. And I mean this sincerely. It's not that I don't care about you. I don't want to be bothered by this shit that is a testimony that you're not listening. Just like when I ask you not to call me the greatest of all times and the GOAT, and this shit still happens. It makes me angry as fuck when I see it. I can't stand it. It's like you're calling me a derogatory term. I know what you're saying, but I don't want that. I don't want that label on me. So when you listen to me and I'm doing these live sessions and or calling out things on Twitter, keep the focus on whatever it is I'm taking your attention to at that moment. And then you explore your chart at that moment. Go into those screenshots, and what do you see? Remember all the examples of me doing that over the years? Or I'd say, what do you see? WDYS question mark. And I'll show you a piece of price action. And for the people that don't really want to learn, or, cynics, oh, it's not enough information here. There's a lot of fucking information in the things I'm sharing. The thing I'm looking for you to identify is in that piece of price action. And the people that understand, they can see it. The folks that have not learned enough yet, they won't see it. And that's not a problem. It means that that's an opportunity for you to learn more. You dig into that. But you're looking at this thinking you know how to learn better than I know how to teach you. And that may sound arrogant on my part, but it's more arrogant for you to think that you know what you're supposed to learn when you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. or what it is I'm going to teach. I mean, think about the level of absurdity to assume going to someone that's proven that they understand something, making themselves available, telling you what to do, tell you what to avoid, and then you do everything diametrically opposed to the instructions. And then mention that you're confused, mention that you're lost, mention that you just took a loss, you took a losing trade today. Everything in that is communicating that you are the fucking problem. Just like I had paid students that were the fucking problem. They couldn't see it. They were so blinded by their perception of themselves. There's no way they could make a mistake. There's no way they done this wrong. When everything they were showing, I'd say, okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm going long in euro. Why the fuck are you going long in euro when I'm talking about in the analysis that we're going down to these levels here, and it's going to those levels, but they're arm wrestling me, saying they can't get it to work because they're going against what I'm telling them that's going to happen in the marketplace. Is that sound logic? Is that a good argument to make? No, it's not. And it's tiresome. It's tiresome when I see folks not listening, when I have done this to a degree of redundancy that is nauseating even for me. So I know it's nauseating for the listeners, but I care enough to tell you you're fucking up. You're doing it wrong. You're not listening. You're doing extra shit when it's not expected of you. You want to trade. You want to push the button and find entry points and get out at a profitable exit. I understand that. But you also want to take that shit to social media. How do I know that? Because you're quick to give me feedback that I didn't ask for and you shouldn't be providing. You're pushing a button when you're told not to. And you're frustrated because you can't bring your receipts to the people you want to flex on. And you don't think I know that? I know it. I can see how you're talking to other people. Your tweets are right there. But you have selective memory. Oh, I better not do that anymore. Right. So I don't give a shit what your results are unless I ask for it. I can't spend your money. I'm not going to lose sleep over the losing trade. So I'm not interested. We're not even in that stage of the mentorship yet where you're supposed to be pushing a button. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You will be prompted to do certain things in your paper trading account, in your demo account, in the observations at that time. I want to hear your feedback then, not right now. You haven't even learned how to walk yet. And some of you want to run a marathon and carry your friends and neighbors on the back of you. Like you can conquer all things and fucking sparks shoot out your ass. You want attention. And you don't have any skill set to command that attention right now. You have to learn how to do this properly. You have to filter out all these characteristics that make up who you are as a person. As lovely as a person you probably are outside of these negative things for trading, you can't allow that stuff to come in here. Impatience. Unwillingness to follow instructions. If you can't follow my instructions, okay, and this is as plain as it's going to be. If you can't follow instructions that I'm outlining for you, that leads to you understanding how to do this independently without me and successfully, how the fuck are you going to follow your own trading plan all the time? Never deviate from it. You're not. And this is where you want to discover that problem in you, where it was no risk. You didn't lose any money. You didn't make money and attribute it falsely as skill, like I did as a 20-year-old. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm telling you, please listen to me. Some of you are doing the same shit, even though you hear me telling you not to do it, and these are the reasons why, and the outcome will be these adverse effects, these results that you don't want. You're going to fail at this unless you listen to everything I tell you to focus on while you're learning. If you focus on that, you're giving yourself at least the fairest chance to get to it eventually. If you keep showing up and practicing, you will get it. It will happen. But most people will fail because they don't want to listen in the beginning, or they don't stick to it long enough because their expectations on how long it should take for them to learn it is unrealistic. You're asking for me to teach more of the things that I know about the marketplace and little tricks and caveats to buying and selling and where the price should go and all that. You haven't even mastered the one thing that you're supposed to be focusing on right now. And you just want more entertainment, more talking points, more things to have in your social media equity curve, and some of you to have in your next mentorship. I know I'm going to have more days like this with you throughout this year. I don't like having these kind of discussions, and I've had it with my paid members too. I had these are like woodshed moments. Woodsheds when your parent took you out back and told you to break a switch off of a tree, peel it down, get the bark off of it, and you got it across your backside. Why? So that way you understand there's a consequence. Some of you don't realize the consequences of what you're doing by being impatient or trying to find a trade. I'm trying to find the bias off of what these liquidity points are. You're not supposed to do that right now. That's not the focal point right now. What you're trying to derive from doing the tape reading is, number one, you're learning patience. You're observing characteristics that price does at specific times of the day. By going into the charts, and when I'm telling you the screenshot, and when I'm telling you, look at this right here, whenever you hear me say that, that's like, unless I say the words, because sometimes I don't say because I'm wrapped up in the live stream and I can't think about everything at the time because I'm reading prices that's happening on 1 minute candles. But whenever I say here, look at this, or focus on here, or watch this, treat that the same way as when I'm saying screenshot it. Because at that moment, there's something in the chart that you as a trader using my information, you're going to see something that's going to resonate with you as a setup. And if you're not doing this, you are not going to learn it. It's going to go right over your head. And come November, you'll be just like the dozen out there, the dirty dozen. It's probably not even that many that will say everything I'm doing, improving, won't make you money. You can't do it. It's unsustainable. It's not precise. You'll be a part of that group because it will feel like you have to do that because you won't be able to stomach the fact that you will know in hindsight, looking back, you've wasted your time and you didn't do the things that you were supposed to be doing throughout this year. It's hard being disciplined. I know, man. I know. You feel like you want to be more productive. I get it. And I fucked myself up doing that same shit. I thought more was better. I got to be doing more than just this. No, just focus on this. I'm going to say something to you in closing because I said enough. And if I've upset you, if offend you, just know I'm talking from a point of caring. You didn't pay for this. I'm not getting ad revenue off of this. I'm talking to you because I want to see you do well. But there's a old story. Ed Cicada quoted part of it. And it's the Jade Master. And when I heard this story, it resonated a lot with me. Because as a martial artist, as a young man growing up, I was in several martial arts. And I always had this affinity for the Asian arts and their lifestyle, and the master, and the student comes to the master, and he submits himself to the process and all that business. It's funny, in martial arts, watch that ES run for that 40-18 and a half and 40-20 75 level where that buy side is. Just watch that now. When I was in trading early on, trying to learn how to do all this stuff, I didn't have that discipline. But every time I joined a new martial art, and got a new sensei, new instructor. Like, whatever this guy would have said to do, I would have done it. And only just that. So in martial arts, I did really good. My friends, my close friends growing up, my best friend would tell you that, I was pretty good at what I was able to do. But when I tried to learn how to trade, every aspect of discipline, personal responsibility, and just focusing on the things that I'm only supposed to be focusing on right now until that technique is honed to a degree where I know this. Then I can go into trying to learn something else. That's the proper way of doing it. Well, I didn't have that when I first started trading because I was too in a hurry to get out of the rat race. I wanted to stop working for the people I worked for who were taking advantage of me. I knew they were taking advantage of me. They knew that I knew they were taking advantage of me and still gave me nothing extra for working 6 days a week. So I know what it feels like for you. You think that, I'm sitting on this mountain of cash and it's always been like that. No, I came from nothing. And I had to dig in and go through a whole lot of shit to learn discipline. I've not always been disciplined. And you can hear I'm chemically imbalanced. It's real hard for me to maintain a sense of rigid discipline. I was doing breathing techniques before I started this because I wanted to make sure I didn't go off the rails immediately. Dealing with the public, and this is why I want you to trust the fact that this is the last time I'm doing this, okay? I don't have the patience to deal with this many personalities and this many personality flaws, weaknesses, frailties, impatience, undisciplined, disrespectful. Those things make it difficult for me or any educator to teach a person that holds them and doesn't want to let go of them. And it's even worse when a student doesn't even recognize that that's what they're holding on to because they want to have it their way. They want to be trained their way. So when you have this story called the Jade Master, I shared it a lot when I was on Twitter before. And I'm sure it was, looked at and dismissed. Oh, what is this guy talking about? This ain't important. Where's the order block stuff? I want to know about that. But I'm not going to read everything line by line. I'm just going to give you a real short version of it. This master of Jade is on the other side of the mountain. This young man, he's doing everything he can to, entertain himself, find his place in the world. And he says, you know what? I'm going to do better in life. I'm going to get a career and I'm going to go be a Jade Master. So I'm going to go to the Jade Master's house and ask him to teach me. So he journeys a long way, gets there, finally gets an answer from the door. His old man comes to the door, says, hello, how can I help you? He says, I want to learn Jade. Jade Master smiles, says, come on in. Invites him into his own home. They sit down. He makes him a cup of tea. They start talking about things that have nothing to do with Jade. But before he gets comfortable in the chair, the old man presses a piece of green stone in his hand and tells him to hold on to it. He starts talking to him about things that the young man feels like this is foolishness. Much like many of you do when I'm talking like this, or I'm doing the dry parts of my lectures in video or in Twitter spaces. You zone that out.